Miller is the daughter of Magnum photographer Inge Morath and Pulitzer Prize-winning playwright Arthur Miller. Early life Miller was born in Roxbury, Connecticut, and grew up with her father, playwright Arthur Miller, and mother, Austrian-born photographer Inge Morath. Her brother, Daniel, was born in 1966. Her father was Jewish, and her mother was Protestant. For a time during childhood, Miller practiced Catholicism on her own accord. She has said that she stopped thinking of herself as a Christian somewhere at the end of college. Miller remembered her childhood in Roxbury surrounded by artists. Sculptor Alexander Calder was a neighbor, so were choreographer Martha Clark and members of the experimental dance troupe Pi Lobolus. Immersed in drawing, Miller was tutored by another neighbor, sculptor Philip Grousman. Miller was educated at Choate Rosemary Hall. In 1980, she entered Yale University to study painting and literature. The author Naomi Wolf was her roommate. Miller created wooden panel triptychs she described as hybrids of pictographic forms inspired, for examples, by Paul Klee in a 15th-century altarpiece. Upon graduation in 1985, Miller went abroad on a fellowship to Munich, Germany. In 1987, Miller took up residence in New York City, and she showed painting and sculpture at Leo Castelli Gallery, Victoria Monroe Gallery, and in Connecticut. Miller also studied film at the New School, mentored by then 92-year-old professor, photographer, cinematographer, Arnold S. Eagle. Miller began making nonverbal films, which she exhibited along with her artwork. In 1988, Miller was cast in the role of Anya in the Peter Brooks adaptation of Chekhov's The Cherry Orchard, her first stage role, and she also originated the part of Lily in The American Plan. Throughout, Miller gravitated toward her role as an independent filmmaker, director. Miller began her acting career with directors Alan Pakula, Paul Mazursky, and Mike Nichols. She played the female lead in NBC's television movie The Murder of Mary Fagan, and supporting roles in feature films, including Regarding Henry, 1991, and Consenting Adults, 1992. In 1991, Miller wrote and directed a short film Florence, starring actress Marcia Gay Harden, about a precociously empathetic woman who acquires the symptoms from others, eventually catching a neighbor's amnesia. She forgets her own identity. Florence caught the attention of Ensemble Theatre Cincinnati, and Miller was invited to direct a revival of Arthur Miller's After the Fall. She also directed Nicole Burdett's play The Bluebird Special Came Through Here. Career Miller is a novelist, director, independent filmmaker, advocate of women in the film industry. She was featured in the 2003 IFC Films documentary In the Company of Women, directed by Leslie Kleinberg and Ginny Reticker. In 2009, Miller was honored with the Maureen O'Hara Award in recognition of achievements in film. Miller wrote and directed her first film, Angela, in 1995. It is the story of 10-year-old Angela's attempt to purge her soul of sin in order to cure her mentally ill mother. The film premiered at Philadelphia Festival of World Cinema, and screened at Sundance Film Festival. For Angela, Miller received the Independent Feature Project, IFP, Gotham Awards, the Independent Film Project's Open Palm Award, and the Sundance Film Festival Filmmaker Trophy from her peers. The film cinematographer Ellen Kuras was also honored at Sundance and the Brussels International Festival of Fantasy Film. Miller collection of prose portraits of women, Personal Velocity was awarded Washington Post Best Book of 2001. Personal Velocity then became the basis for Miller's 2002 award-winning feature film by the same name. She adapted 3 short stories into a screenplay of 3 different, although thematically unified short films, which Miller then directed. Each film explores personal transformation in response to life-changing circumstances. Miller credits the poet Honor More for help to bridge the gap between being a writer of scripts and fiction. Personal Velocity, 3 portraits screened at Tribeca Film Festival, the High Falls Film Festival, and the film was successfully released through United Artists. The film earned critical praise from the New York Times as the work of a talented and highly visual writer. For Personal Velocity, Miller received the Sundance Film Festival Grand Jury Prize and the Independent Spirit John Cassavetes Award in 2002, and the National Board of Review of Motion Pictures Special Recognition for Excellence in Filmmaking in 2003. Cinematographer Ellen Kuras received the Excellence in Cinematography Award at Sundance. Personal Velocity, 3 portraits is part of the permanent collection of the Museum of Modern Art in New York City. In 2003, Miller wrote and illustrated A Woman Who. The book is a collection of images of women, in a variety of scenes, each drawn by Miller with her eyes closed. Miller wrote the screenplay for the 2005 film adaptation of David Auburn's Pulitzer Prize-winning play Proof. The film was directed by John Madden, and stars Gwyneth Paltrow and Anthony Hopkins. Also in 2005, Miller directed her film, The Ballad of Jack and Rose, which stars Daniel Day-Lewis, Camilla Bell and Catherine Keener. Shot on location in Nova Scotia and on Prince Edward Island, the film is a textured, sorrowful, coming-of-age story about a 16-year-old named Rose who has grown up in isolation with her father. The Ballad of Jack and Rose screened at the Woodstock Film Festival and IFC Center in New York. For The Ballad of Jack and Rose, Miller received honorable mention from MTV's 2010 The Best Female Directors Who Should Have Won an Oscar. In 2009, Miller released her fourth film, The Private Lives of Pippa Lee, an adaptation of her 2002 novel by the same name, a nuanced exploration of a 50-year-old woman's adjustment reaction to moving into a retirement community with her 80-year-old husband. The story flows back and forth between the main character Pippa's memories of her freewheeling New York City youth in the 1970s and her present life. Miller directed a star-studded cast which includes Robin Wright, Alan Arkin, Keanu Reeves, Winona Ryder and Julianne Moore. The Private Lives of Pippa Lee premiered at Toronto International Film Festival, and screened at the Lower East Side Film Festival, Ryerson University, Berlin Film Festival, and Hay Festival. In 2013, Miller published Jacob's Folly, a complex novel about an 18th-century French rake reincarnated as a housefly in modern-day New York with the ability to enter the other Character's consciousness and influence them. Critic Maureen Corrigan praised the work, saying, "Miller's writing style is sensuous, and her individual stories expand, opulently, in scope and emotional impact." Miller wrote a screenplay neo-screwball comedy, called Maggie's Plan, based upon an original story by Karen Rinaldi. Miller directed the film, shot primarily in Greenwich Village. In 2015, Sony Pictures Classics distributed Maggie's Plan in theaters. The ensemble cast includes Greta Gerwig, Julianne Moore, Ethan Hawke, Bill Hader and Maya Rudolph. Critic Richard Lawson praised Maggie's Plan as a smart, goofy delight. Maggie's Plan was released in movies theaters in 2016. Personal life Miller first met her future husband, actor Daniel Day-Lewis, on set during the production of the film adaptation of the elder Miller's play The Crucible. Miller and Day-Lewis were married on November 13, 1996, and they have 3 sons, Ronan, B. 1998, and Cashel, B. 2002, and Miller's stepson, Gabriel Kane Day-Lewis, B. 1995, from his previous relationship with Isabel Adjani. Filmography Producer Maggie's Plan, 2015. Director, Screenwriter Angela, 1995. Personal Velocity, 3 Portraits, 2002. The Ballad of Jack and Rose, 2005. The Private Lives of Pippa Lee, 2009. Maggie's Plan, 2015. Screenwriter Proof, 2005. Actress The Murder of Mary Fagan, 1988. TV. Lucille Frank, Georg Elser, Einer aus Deutschland, 1989. TV. Klaus Maria Brandauer, Anneliese, Regarding Henry, 1991. Linda, Wind, 1992. Abigail Weld, Consenting Adults, 1992. Kay Otis, The Pickle, 1993. Carrie, The American Clock, 1993. TV miniseries. Edie, Mrs. Parker and the Vicious Circle, 1994. Nasa McMine, Love Affair, 1994. Receptionist, The Meyerowitz Stories, 2017. Noah Baumbach, Loretta Shapiro, Bibliography Miller, R. 2001. Personal Velocity, New York, Grove Press. Miller, R. 2008. The Private Lives of Pippa Lee, New York, Farrar, Straus and Giroux. Miller, R. 2003. A Woman Who, London, Bloomsbury. Miller, R. 2005. The Ballad of Jack and Rose, New York, Faber and Faber. Miller, R. 2014. Jacob's Folly, New York, Farrar, Straus and Giroux. References External links Official website, Rebecca Miller on Internet Movie Database.